Good evening, everyone. Your host here, Miriam Zora D. Welcome to the November gathering of Surrey Muse, an interdisciplinary art and literature presentation group. We meet on the unceded Coast Salish territories of the Katsi, Kwantlen, Musqueam, Squamish, and the Tsleil-Waututh First Nations. As I said, this is our 9th gathering. We meet monthly. This is actually, it's our birthday because 2011, November 25th, was our first gathering. We are an inclusive space that was initiated by writers, performers, and artists about 9 years ago, who want to excel in their art, who strive to create supportive platforms for themselves and the peers. We meet on the 4th Friday of each month, except for December, and each gathering features an author, a poet, an artist, performer at varying levels of artistic development, and then that's followed by an open mic session. Surrey Muse is a project of Surrey Muse Art Society and other projects that our society has completed so far, garden plot reading series, as well as the Surrey Muse writers and women who named the unnamed. You can like us on Facebook, and we have a YouTube page. I'm pleased to present to you this month, we have featured author Laifong Leung. We have featured poet Chimedum Ohaegbu, featured performer Lend Me Your Underbelly, and the open mic will begin with Zofia Rose Musiej, and then that will follow up with open mic presenters João Sousa and Shany Diaz. I'm your host, Miriam Zora D. Thank you so much for joining us for this 9th annual anniversary of Surrey Muse, the November gathering. Laifong Leung is an author, scholar, and translator. Her books include a study of Leung and his lyrics, contemporary Chinese fiction writers, biography, bibliography, and critical assessment. Also, literary interactions between China and foreign countries, China-Canada volume, and harvesting fruits overseas, jottings from Edmonton. Laifong is the co-founder of the Chinese-Canadian Writers Association and currently serves as its executive chair. In 2009, Laifong created the annual event Autumn Verses, Chinese English Poetry Recitation, that takes place at the Sun Yat-sen Classical Chinese Garden in Vancouver. It invites poets from different linguistic backgrounds to share their poems in Chinese and English translations. This fall, the event became one of the participating programs in the Literary Festival World Vancouver. Laifong received her BA from the University of Calgary and Master's and PhD from the University of British Columbia. She is Professor Emerita of the University of Alberta.
Hello, everyone. My name is Laifong Leung. I graduated from UBC and taught Chinese Language and Literature at the University of Alberta for many years. Now I'm living in Vancouver. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Surrey Muse for inviting me here to share with you my writing. Today I'm going to share with you an excerpt from my recent book, Contemporary Chinese Fiction Writers, Biography, Bibliography, and Critical Assessment by Routledge Press. Today I'm going to introduce to you the writer Mo Yan, who won the Nobel Prize in Literature in 2012. Mo Yan's real name is Guan Mo Ye. Mo Yan, literally and ironically speak, is taken fitting the middle character of. He was born in 1950 in Gaomi, Shandong province, into a so-called bad background, a peasant, and grew up hungry and lonely. During the years of the 1959-1961, hungry, and he became so swollen and that he see the vegetable color of his bad class. He was not allowed to attend junior middle school despite good. All this suffering leaves scars on him. He said more than once how painful, frustrating, and humiliating it was to be leading past the school, hearing his former classmates reciting the lessons. Eager to learn, he read all the books he could find from nearby villages, among them classical Chinese novels. In 1976, Mo Yan's life course changed when he managed to be accepted into the PLA, People's Liberation Army. His talent with language quickly made him stand out in the army. He was assigned cultural duties, such as reading newspapers to his fellow soldiers. In winter 1984, after publishing more than 10 short stories, he was accepted into the PLA Arts Institute. After Mo Yan graduated in 1986, he became an instructor of political education in the army. In 1989, fulfilling his dream of higher education, he enrolled in the master's program jointly offered by the Luoshun Literary Institute and Beijing Normal University, obtaining his degree in 1991. The idea of applying foreign techniques to his own stories came in the early stages of Mo Yan's creation. He was inspired by William Faulkner and Gabriel Garcia Marquez to set his stories in his hometown. Mo Yan's fiction, imbued with rural flavor, is characterized by an energetic rhythm that sustains the tension of the narrative and the intense interest of the reader. His flexible rhetoric transcends Maoist cliches. He is highly imaginative, often surprising readers with striking and colorful imagery effortlessly drawn from animate and inanimate objects, no matter how incongruous they appear to be. The thematic issues Mo Yan deals with are diverse, including critiques of colonial rule, of Maoist misrule and of the Reform era's vulgar commercialization and moral decadence. He also explores such themes as unhappy childhood, generation decline, the inability to face adulthood, sexual deprivation, and the unpredictability of fate. Mo Yan creates a host of characters whose stories, mostly taking place in northeast Gaomi County, cover actual historical events from the late Qing dynasty to the early years of the 21st century. Mo Yan tends to write from the perspectives of the characters, who may be an innocent child, a wrongly executed landlord, a violent bandit, a prostitute, or an executioner. Mo Yan writes compassionately about victims of the political system or fate. The world he portrays is one full of cruelty, violence, and tragedy. In the short story, White Dog and a Swing, Mo Yan deals with the question of love and moral responsibility, using a childhood accident as a key episode. While on a swing with the first-person narrator, Nguyen is accidentally blinded in one eye. This accident destroys her hopes of joining the performing troupe in the city and of a possible marriage to the young artist who had expressed affection for her. In the end, she marries a mute and gives birth to 3 mute children. The first-person narrator had left the village after the accident, finding out about Nguyen's misery only 10 years later. On his way home after visiting Nguyen, he is led by the white dog, the witness of her fate and their youthful love, through the thick red sorghum to a space prepared by Nguyen. Her request is direct, simple, and justifiable. You have 1,000 reasons to say no, but don't tell me. All I want is a child who can speak. Thus, the first-person narrator is suddenly placed in a moral dilemma. The narrative ends here, abruptly but powerfully. The story was made into a film entitled Nguyen. I'm going to read a few more paragraphs about another novel by Mo Yan. In 2006, Mo Yan published his long novel, Life and Death Are Wearing Me Out, which shows conspicuous use of Chinese cultural elements. Each chapter is titled with a couplet in the format of classical Chinese vernacular fiction. In 5 parts and 53 chapters, Mo Yan turns to the central focus of the Chinese peasantry throughout history, the land. He makes use of the Buddhist belief in Chinese society, reincarnation, to present his view on post-1949 Chinese society through the life and death of the landlord, Shimen Nao, and his family members in northeast Gaomi County. The narrative begins strikingly with Shimen Nao in hell, arguing strongly and defensively with the Lord of Hades that he was a kind landlord when he was alive, but he was wrongly executed, and now he wants to go back to the human world. His request is granted, suggesting that even the Lord of Hades sympathizes with the landlord. Shimen now does not return to the world as a human being initially, but as a donkey whose owner is none other than his former worker, Lan Lian, Blueface. As the narrative develops, Shimen now will experience the absurdities of life and the irony of revolution from the point of view of his 6 successive reincarnated bodies: donkey, ox, pig, dog, monkey, and human, following Chinese history from the early 1950s to the 1980s. Mo Yan provides a detailed depiction of rural life with seasonal variations. He blends the consciousness of Shimen Nao with his incarnated animal bodies. By giving voice to the landlord, Mo Yan subverts the orthodox CCP history, as is rightly observed by historian Jonathan Spence. The novel, quote, remains a widely visionary and creative novel, constantly mocking and rearranging itself, and jotting the reader with its own internal commentary. This is a politics as pathology, end of quote. Each of Shimen Nao's reincarnations unfolds in a different stage in history. What remains unchanged is the land itself. Blueface, a worker supposedly exploited by Shimen Nao, according to the class struggle dictum, ironically remains loyal to his master. Blueface is Shimen Nao's double. What Shimen Nao could not do, because he has been executed, under the CCP rule, is achieved by Blueface. Blueface marries Shimen Nao's concubine, becoming Shimen Nao's surrogate husband. His courage to stand alone against the ruling apparatus in keeping his private plot, despite persecution and family disintegration, makes him a unique character in contemporary Chinese fiction. When urged by his children to join the People's Commune, Blueface replies, "No, I want to work totally alone. Alone. I need no one. I don't object to the Chinese Communist Party. I don't object Chairman Mao, or the People's Commune, or the collective. I just want to work alone. All crows are black. Why can't there be a few white crows? I'm that white crow." A new stage has arrived. Land is again redistributed according to the agricultural responsibility system. Blue-faced son turns to raising pigs to get rich and subsequently develops the land into a tourist district. The party secretary, originally a fervent supporter of the People's Commune, has become disillusioned and somewhat hysterical. There is a character and writer named Mo Yen, who is Shima Nao's fellow villager. This self-mocking character writer Mo Yen has a postmodernist narrative function. In part 5, he explains what happens to the other Shima Nao's 5-year-old grandson, who tells his friend, "My story begins with January 1st, 1950. The same line that begins the novel. Shima Nao has finally returned in a human form, completing the cyclical structure of the narrative. The Buddhist concept of reincarnation is illustrated, and the cyclical nature of Chinese history is implied." Mo Yan has immortalized his hometown in northeast Gaomi country. The fictional characters he creates are ordinary people and are depicted as such. In Mo Yan's 2001 lecture in Suzhou University, he clearly spelled out his idea of literary creation. Writing as one of the ordinary folks. This is in contrast to the long-held notion that writers are engineers of the human soul and that they are writing for the masses. He explained that this notion of writing as one of the ordinary people demands that a writer, to get rid of the intellectual stance and use the thinking logic of the ordinary people to think. Otherwise, the ordinary life depicted is romanticized and fake. Mo Yan has written according to this conviction. That's all I'd like to share today. Most of Mo Yan's fiction has been translated into English. I hope you are interested in his fiction and find these books. Thank you.
Chimedum Ohaegbu is a poet, author, and an editor who attends UBC in pursuit of hummingbirds and a dual degree in English literature and creative writing. She's Uncanny Magazine's managing editor and a Hugo Award winner, and she holds a Pushcart Prize nomination for poetry. Her work is published in Strange Horizons, This Magazine, Arc Poetry Magazine, and the Thames Review, among others. She writes and edits from Treaty 7 territory in Calgary, Alberta. Visit Chimedum's website at chimedum.com.
Hi, I'm Chimedum Ohaegbu, a poet, writer, and editor from Calgary, Alberta, Treaty 7 territory. And today I have 2 poems for you. So the first one is titled Percussive Maintenance, and I guess I'll just start. Percussive maintenance is when you hit something until it works. Good for printers, refrigerators, anyone really, if you choose what won't fight back and use a certain slant of might. Take the brain seething in its bony bowl, Lichtenberg scarred by its own circular electrics. If Japan impales you, no need. 3 strikes and you're in charge again. The ghosts resettle, rest, reset for next night's scream. You've done it, as has your father. Everyone, almost, wants to scramble stale viscera without tarnishing the hands, the self-image. How awful it would be to fix someone only as violently as needed, no more, than have to witness their blood beneath your crescent moons, wet sinew wound round your ring finger, in your good mood. Better to converse with the insides of things from the outsides of things. Physics bears truth, few music. With enough rat-a-tat-tat and drum roll and beating, a dash of blunt force, viciousness of sound intent, even I could be useful, or so I've been told. I don't live near that now. Yet my mind chews old mayhem and won't spit it out for any glory I know. Unruly, bitter thing. I do my own maintenance in absentia, as the chorus sneers the schoolyard song. Stop hitting yourself, stop hitting yourself. I'm not. This is medicine. And that's one poem. Now for something, I wouldn't say it's lighter per se, but now for my second poem, and last of the night. Thank you for attending this reading. This poem is called The Entertainer. I can't afford front row seats to my own flayings these days, what with inflation being as it is. Costlier than ever to canonize the swan-diving knives who sever from the meat of me slow resting wings. Alas, except a professor once said a little alchemy never hurt anybody. Dread and gold, right? I scrounged for the lesson. How spectacles gleamed, the eyes baby blue, how he told me I teemed with talent and possibly spectacle too. If only I'd offer my pulse on a plate, or, at least, say some yes to every ache. Name newly bare Mara, moneymaker, Muse. Say, give me swords to swallow, they season my songs. Give me fire to eat, we'll devour each other compellingly. Let applause invent me, and for my best trick, beg my lovely assistant to saw this body to ribbons. A ruined pen drinks of to bear the world an artistry steaming called lousy with afterbirth for authenticity. Or, quicker, bare my silk throat toward eye teeth, toward thorns, turn the other cheek each evening and mourn till my face burns and craters. Am I still unadorned? Is that a Pulitzer in your pocket, or are you just happy to bleed me? Laurels make firmer handholds than pillows. I know, but providing for those seeking dinner as a show tightens the vulture circle, that sky-touched hoop. Hop through for spit-shined accolades, and all the gazes dollar can buy. Every year, on to year. And always cyclical, this harvest I'm sick with. Must I curl with the Ouroboros? Must my damage seduce? Must I mine all the time, navigate by flinch to tunnel's bright fathoms? Or could I contain these multitudes? Hide in my darkness, feathered things and caress, at least until they're ready. And then laugh when I wished, just keep me to myself, just sleep unconsumed, just entertain no one. And that's all I have. So thank you so much again, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of the reading.
Lend Me Your Underbelly is the alias of Christian Berens, a musician and artist based in the Netherlands who tries to create mesmerizing and surreal music where time is dilated. Previously a member of the black metal band Salacious Gods, Christian began to explore the dreamy and psychedelic side of music since 2011. Fueled by improvisation, nature, and spiritual grounding, his experimental field recordings, awash through guitar, speaking in the language of the ancients, blowing as a still storm, hanging in defiance to gravity itself. Christian uses guitar and a variety of other instruments, as well as loopers and vocals, to explore the edges of inner musical perceptions. Visit Christian's website at lendmeyourunderbelly.com. Zofia Rose Musiej is a singer-songwriter, poet, and interdisciplinary performer. A graduate of the Writers' Studio at SFU, her poetry has been published in Emerge 19, Prism, Room Magazine, and Salt Chuck City Review. She made her acting debut in Saving Mother at the Granville Island Fringe Festival in 2016. Zofia is mixed blood Polish and Carrier First Nation, and she resides in Vancouver on the unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh peoples, where she can be found following her muse and busking in East Van.
Howdy, everyone. My name is Zofia Rose Musiej. I am in Carrier First Nations and Polish. I'm a poet, singer, sometimes actor, and I'm happy to be sharing with you personally today. Thanks to the pandemic, I've had a lot of free time to think about love. And today I'm going to share a song and some poems about different kinds of love. The songs I'd like to sing for you is it doesn't have a name, and hope you enjoy it. Enjoy this. You are an iceberg, and I am the ocean. What courage to master has only begun. You are my catalyst, and I am your sedative. That it make us allies, or only in the darkest night. I don't darkest night. Where has your luster slipped away to? Night, oh darkest night. Where has your luster slipped away to? Slipped away to? Mr. Joe? I have a poem for you that is called To a Fault. To a fault, I will love you. Everything you are that remains a mystery to me will be centerfold to the reasons why I cannot will away all your unme complexity, your lacking trauma head, which I delve into wholeheartedly, lacking my own self-importance. This next poem I have for you is called Admission. Yes, I am always waiting for you, like I am always waiting for love, appreciation, affection. Yes, I idolize and fantasize the various types of relationship we might have without your hang-ups, without mine. Yes, I fetishize your age and profession, your body in all its forms sounds and the way you hit those delicious notes just right. And you let me send you crazy text you crazy things in return. Free to fill my boots with your unnamed simplicity, complete with my compliance to the one and only rule. Nothing that would personally identify you. Finally, I have written something in gratitude to the librarians and the teachers who gave me books. Gift wrapped in words, held together by spines in lieu of bows and ribbons. Often a curated response to the loneliness I approach you with. My ability to talk to adults far exceeding my attempts to make friends with my peers. You sat with me, listened to what I had to say, gave me space within your classrooms to hold a little value. You returned that value to me in details of your lives. The car accident your wife was in as a teenager. How the translation of your name meant mountain. How proud you were of your own children. Those symptoms of undiagnosed bipolar plagued me early on. None of you ever made me feel that there was something wrong with me. You paid special attention to my achievement, and it made me want to keep going. I'm here because of you, Message. I wanted to include that writing because through everything that I have the opportunity to do because of writing, with the librarians and the teachers who continually open my world by putting a book in my hands that brought me here. And through these opportunities, I just want to encourage everyone to examine where your gratitude is for accessing the courage to do your art, especially in 2020. We've got lots of time on our hands to find pockets of gratitude, even when it's hard. Thank you for my time, and thank you, Zofia.